Hello there, today is 1895 and I'm going to be continuing work on this Necron kill team. First thing I'm going to do is give the model a quick dry brush with some Retributor Gold just to pick out some more of the highlights and get rid of that Reichland Flesh Shade wash I did yesterday. I'm not completely finished with the gold yet, but the highlight will involve some silver, so for now I'm going to work on the silver parts of the model, which are like limb joints and little bits of piping that are showing. From there I'll move on to using Abaddon Black to paint all their weapons. I'm not entirely sure at this stage what's going to be what, so I'm going to paint the whole thing black except like a few wires and piping. While I was painting the weapons black, I found areas that I wanted to paint silver, so I went ahead and painted those with light silver. I then used a darker silver to help pick out some more details. Finally, I went in and painted some Nuln Oil in the silver and black areas, ready for tomorrow. So there we are for the first day, quite a way into them. They shouldn't take too much longer to do, and then I can start practicing the object source lighting. When I had spare time as well throughout the day, I also stuck together my Leagues of Voltan kill team, as they've been sitting in a box for quite some time, and I really need to get rid of that backlog. And these guys look pretty sweet. Glad I've got them out of the way, but I'll be working on another kill team tomorrow. Today is 1896 and I'm going to continue work with the Necron kill team. First thing I'm going to do is highlight all those silver areas with some lighter silver. I then highlighted the gold with some lighter coloured gold. I then finished off painting the metallics by highlighting the darker silver with a slightly lighter silver. I finally decided what colour I was going to do for like any sort of dangly bits or sort of dress areas, and I picked black, so it wasn't really a colour, but I like the way the black and the gold looks. I gave those areas a quick wash with some Nuln Oil, and I'll come back to highlighting those later on. In the meantime, I went ahead and painted all the black areas with some Corvus Black, just to give them a little bit of highlights here and there. And then I highlighted the very tips and very edges of things with some Eshin Grey. Finally, for a burst of colour, I've gone for a blue. That's going to be the colour that the object source lighting is as well. So I painted all the tubings and the eyes and various bits and bobs on each model. And that was all I had time for, and everything is ready for the object source lighting. So fingers crossed I can pull it off and hopefully it'll look good. Also throughout the day, once again, I put together another kill team. This time it was the Beastmen. I can't remember what they're called. The Felgor Ravager kill team. And I got those out of the way. They're a pretty cool looking set, and it's just 3 more kill teams remaining, and I've got everything put together again. Today is 1897, and I'm going to continue with the Necrons. So I was looking at them last night, and I really didn't like the fact they were all gold, so I thought I'd add a little bit more colour to it, so I thought I'd add some red on the shoulder pads and various places like that. I started with a base coat of Mephiston red, and then built up the highlights to Evil Sun's red, and then added a little bit of white for the final edge highlight. After that, I then went ahead and started to add some blue highlights to the piping and tubes on the Necrons. I started with Thousand Suns blue and just built up the colours from there. So now it's finally time to do the OSL. Now, originally I had no idea how to do this, so following some videos, I've been sort of learning how to do it. So first of all, I need to paint everything white, and then as everything's going to be blue, then add a very watered down mix of blue horror and Lamian medium to build up slowly build up the OSL and the highlights. Apologies for all the camera work, my stand broke. I've ordered another one, but that's not here yet. But the process of the OSL is slowly building up the layers of the colors you want, mostly starting on white and then slowly getting darker as you get to the outer edge of the actual light. This technique is a very sort of slow process, especially when you're a beginner and you're just learning, and it's best to take your time, but I'm very happy with the way they've come out so far. Today is 1898, and I'm going to continue with the Necrons. Hopefully we're going to get the OSL finished today, and we're also going to start the blades using the crystalline process. Finishing the OSL is just a matter of adding some edge highlights to all the outer areas just to make everything glow a little bit more. I've really enjoyed the learning process of this, and I'm quite happy with the way they've come out. There's just one more bit to do, and then the lighting is finished. And that is to add a tiny little white dot to where the main source of light is coming from. So now it's another new technique which I've never done before, which is the crystalline sort of blades. First of all, I need to repaint the areas that I painted with a much lighter colour. In this case, it's going to be blue horror, I believe, again. As that process involves several layers, I thought I'd start on the bases of the other Necrons. So I'm just going to add some texture paint to all of their bases, ready for when I'm ready to finish off the guys tomorrow. With the crystalline process, it's just a matter of adding glazes to the blades, which you have to build up slowly over time to get to the desired effect. The glazing process is also something that takes a long time, so I thought I'd move on to the Star Wars Shatterpoint stuff. I'm going to do a quick dry brush just to pick out some highlights on any items of cloth they have on their bodies before I start painting the body armor. One of the dudes actually popped off his base while I was dry brushing, so I'm going to glue him back on. I really should use super glue for this process because these atomic mass bases aren't that great. I also sneezed as well and I snapped a lightsaber. I don't know if you can see it there. Thankfully it was a nice clean break, so it was an easy fix, but I've now got to be very careful with it. I'm nearly out of time, so I've just got enough time to continue with the glazing on these guys. There's not going to be much done today. It's just adding a slightly darker colour to the overall glaze. The idea is to build up the colours over time. So again, I've added a slightly darker colour for this final glaze. You have to do it very subtly and slowly, hence why it takes a lot of time. And again, I'm brand new to this process, so hopefully it'll be worth it in the end. And things are looking great so far. I'm really excited. Hopefully I'll be able to get these guys finished tomorrow, and then I can finally move on to the Star Wars Shatterpoint guys. I also put together the Imperial Agents, or Inquisitorial Agents kill team last night as well. Today is 1899, and I'm going to continue work with the Necron kill team. We're very close to the end now. It's just a matter of quickly finishing off the blades, and for that I need to do one tiny little bit of an extra shade, then edge highlight with some blue horror, and then finally picking out the tiniest corners with some pure white. I also forgot to do the weapons on the center of the staff, so I'm going to quickly do that using a sort of cut down version of what I did for the blades. It's mostly going to be down to edge highlighting though. Finally, I'm going to put some urban texture paint on all of the bases so they are ready for tomorrow, and that is the Necrons done for now. As I've got a little while left, I thought I would continue work on the Inquisitorial Agents from Star Wars Shatterpoint. I'm going to start with adding some Corvus Black to all the armor areas. Then I'll use Eshin Grey to paint the very edges of the cloth. But I'm nearly out of time, so I will start work by adding some Mechanica Standard Grey to the black parts of the armor. Another one popped off their base, however, so I'm going to use some super glue to put them on there and make sure they stay there. And there we are, the Necrons are so close to the finish, I can taste it. It's just doing the base tomorrow, which is not going to take long whatsoever. And work will continue on these guys. Hopefully I'll get them finished by Sunday, but time will tell. I also finished putting together the Space Marine Scout kill team as well. Today is 1990, and I will be getting these guys finished today, as well as getting more done with these guys. So first thing I'm going to do is quickly make sure that any bits that I missed yesterday with the texture paint is covered up. I'll then paint the rocks and such with some Dawnstone. Give all a lovely dry brush with some grey sear grey. Paint the little skull on this dude with some Wraithbone. And give it a once over with some Skeleton Horde contrast paint. From there, I'll paint the rim with some nice Abaddon black. There'll be a couple of coats because otherwise the gold will shine through. Now the Necrons are out of the way, I will continue with the Star Wars Shatterpoint stuff. I'm going to do some very light edge highlighting with some Dawnstone Grey. I'll dry brush this thing with a slight light silver just to pick out some more details. Then I'll start on the red cloak, or the inside of the cloaks. I'll be painting that some corn red, and that'll be given a wash of non-oil. While that's drying, I'll paint some silver details in on the models, like belt buckles and other such paraphernalia. And lastly, I'll begin this skin. I'll just base coat the flesh tones for each character, and then give them a wash with the appropriate colour. That's it, that's the Necrons done and dusted. I'm very happy with them. I like the OSL. Obviously, it can do a bit more work, but that's the whole point of this hobby. The more you do, the better you get. And fingers crossed, I'll have these chaps finished tomorrow as well. Lastly, a box finally arrived from Firestorm Games, a wonderful store based in Cardiff. This is Warhammer The Old World. I managed to get hold of the Bretonnian box set, and I can't wait to dig in and get these guys started. Absolutely love Bretonnians, and I really miss Warhammer Fantasy. I also stuck together the Striking Scorpions kill team and the Bretonnian Archers from the Old World box set. Today is 1991, and I'm going to add some tufts to these guys, and I'm also going to finish off the Inquisitors for Star Wars Shatterpoint. Just going to use a little bit of PVA glue to add some tufts to all the bases of the Necrons, and then I'll go back to the Inquisitors. The first thing I'm going to do is paint their eyes before I finish off their skin, as well as any other details on certain characters that I can do before I do the highlighting. I do this because it's easier to correct this skin than it is rather than the actual details themselves. With the skin out of the way, I then went ahead and started on the red on the cloaks and such. I'm going to cover it with another coat of corn red and build up the highlights from there. Once that was out of the way, I then went ahead and painted the lightsabers. Again, it's just the same as the cloak, it's just adding a quick highlight sort of closer towards the center of the actual lightsaber blade. I then added any highlights I missed before I actually did the faces. It's just on like the black hair and the sort of the helmets and masks and things. I then went and finished the detailing on this sort of cut in half module thing. I started with a sort of deep orange and then built up the layers, sort of mixing in a bright orange as I went until I finally got to a bright white, which I only did the outer tips with. Finally on the bases, so it's just some Dawnstone Grey, some Tau X, I want to say XV8 or whatever it's called for the mud. After highlighting both, I then went ahead and painted the bases and neatened them up a little bit by painting the rims with a Batten black. And then finally giving everything a wash with some watered down Agrax shade. And that's this week done. I'm very happy with the way the Necrons come out. I enjoyed doing this object source light, and I'll definitely be doing that more in the future. And I'm very happy with the way the Inquisitors come out as well. All in all, it's been a pretty good week. I've learned quite a lot. Some stuff I'll be using more often than not. I'm happy to get another kill team out of the way. I'm definitely going to be doing more kill teams as the weeks progress. So I really enjoyed painting these guys, and actually love Atomic Masses miniatures. They're always a joy to paint, and these Inquisitors are no different. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you'll maybe give it a thumbs up and a subscribe, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.